Hello and welcome to Nurture Academy. Today we are going to learn about magnetic effect of electric current. When we talk about this chapter, the first thing which comes to our mind is that whenever there is an electric current, then it kind of shows some effect on the needle. So that means that whenever there is current, it makes some kind of magnetism around it. So first time the effect of magnetism due to a current carrying wire was observed by Ostwald when he saw that some compass needle, when it was lying near to the current carrying wire, it started showing deflection. So we can easily conclude that wherever there is current, there is magnetic field. Now with this particular equation, we can write the value of magnetic field. B is the field. Magnetic field is denoted by B, not by M, and it depends upon current. And dl is that length element of the wire through which the current is flowing. Sin theta is the angle between the current carrying element and the point where we are trying to find the direction of the magnetic field. R is the distance between dl and R. So always remember, dB is directly proportional to I dl sin theta divided by R square. As we have already established that any current carrying rod or anything would act like a magnet. So in this particular diagram, we can see one long current carrying wire is there. It is carrying the current in this particular direction. But I want to find the magnetic field at the point P. So since it is an infinite long wire, what I will do is I will do little construction. I will draw some perpendiculars and find out the value of phi 1 and phi 2. So I can do this derivation as this way. Okay. First thing is, always any current carrying wire will follow the law dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I dl sin theta divided by R square. Instead of writing dl sin theta, I can write here R into d phi. You can check from this triangle that dl sin theta is equal to R into d phi. By filling the value of everything, I can calculate the value of magnetic field due to a current carrying wire as mu naught I divided by 2 pi A. So a long current carrying wire acts like a magnet. You must have noticed, whenever we want any current carrying conductor for the purpose of making magnet or anything, instead of preferring to have a current carrying wire, we will prefer to have a loop. Instead of a wire, we will have a loop. So it is very important to find out the value of magnetic field due to a loop. Now I want to find the value of magnetic field due to this loop at the point P. As you can see, loop is hollow. Magnetic field is only due to current on the periphery, not in the center. But I am trying to find the value of magnetic field in the center on the axis of the loop. So I will project B should be written as dB sin theta. That's all. After that, it's the same expression. B should be written as mu naught by 4 pi I dl sin theta divided by R square. In this case, the value of sin theta is taken to be 1 because the length element and where I am finding the magnetic field, they are in the same direction. So after solving this whole thing, I will get the value of magnetic field as mu naught Ni divided by 2A. This is the value of magnetic field due to a circular current carrying conductor where N is denoted as the number of turns. Because sometimes we don't take only one loop, we take many loops like in case of a solenoid. The value of magnetic field can be easily calculated by Ampere-Circuitan law. Ampere-Circuitan law is very simple. It is almost similar to your Gauss law. Gauss law was E dot ds is equal to Q divided by epsilon naught. Here we are writing B dot dl equal to mu naught into I naught. And this integration sign shows that the value of magnetic field we have to calculate over a closed curve. Okay, this law can also be told as the line integral B dot dl for a closed curve is equal to mu naught times the current through the bounded curve. Next is, as we have already established, that solenoid is a very important magnetic device, because one solenoid, it can act like a bar magnet. Okay. Now I have not drawn the solenoid in the same way as we see it. Instead, we are just seeing the cross section of solenoid. We want to calculate the value of magnetic field. So what we will do is, we will just assume one closed path so that we can apply Ampere-Circuitan law to calculate the magnetic field. Now I can write B dot dl should be equal to B dot dl across this path plus this path plus this path plus this path. But the thing is that path from A to D and C to B, these are perpendicular to the magnetic field. So if they are perpendicular to the magnetic field, the value will be equal to 0, because cos 90 is equal to 0. Now in this case, path CD, it is outside the solenoid. So here also there will be no current enclosed. Remember Ampere-Circuitan law, it deals with only the current enclosed in that surface. So path CD doesn't have any current enclosed. So magnetic field for this path and this path will be equal to 0. Only across path A to B there will be value of magnetic field, and it will be written as B into L. Okay. And now I will find the value of B into L. So B into L I know is equal to mu naught into I. Okay. But for simplicity, when I am having number of loops n, then I will write B as mu naught into n into I. For solving numerical purposes, I should not ignore the length of the solenoid. That time I have to consider number of loops per unit length of the solenoid. Now that we have established that any current carrying conductor behaves like a magnet, and we know that if we keep a current carrying conductor inside the magnetic field, it will experience a force, because one magnet exerts force over another magnet. Since current carrying conductor is also a magnet and the magnetic field is also a magnet, so they will exert force over each other. The force exerted by magnetic field on a current carrying conductor is known as magnetic Lorentz force. And the formula to calculate magnetic Lorentz force is F is equal to Q. Q is the charge, V is the velocity, cross B. Okay, this is the formula to calculate the magnetic Lorentz force. Now, if we keep any electron inside, if the electron is in the magnetic field, then what will happen? It will start to move round and round. So the acceleration, the force will be balanced by the centripetal force. In that case, I can write BQV is equal to mv square upon r, because centripetal force is denoted as mv square upon r. Rearrange this equation. Keep V by R on one side and rest BQ by M you keep on another side. So V by R I know is equal to omega. Omega is angular velocity, V is linear velocity. This is the relation between omega and V. We can also say V is equal to R into omega. So from this relation I get this relation. After that I know that omega is equal to 2 pi divided by T. So by filling I can calculate the time period of revolution if I keep one moving charge inside the magnetic field. The time period will be 2 pi m by BQ, and it will experience a force that will be Lorentz force BQV sine theta. Now let us say there is one more expression actually for calculating the force on current carrying conductor, which is derived only from the Lorentz force. We know Lorentz force is equal to Q into V cross B. Okay, in this case I am, instead of taking Q, I am taking charge on the electron E, and I know that velocity is equal to distance divided by time. So in this expression I will write distance upon time. Now charge divided by time is equal to current. So I am left with current into L cross B. This expression in your lower classes you have learned like F is equal to BIL sine theta. Okay. This is for remembering the formula. But to calculate the numerical problems, you always should remember that total number of free electrons in a conductor can be calculated as number of electrons in 1 mole into area into length. Means number of electrons present in that particular volume. Okay. And magnetic Lorentz force, capital F. Here you must have noticed, here I wrote small f, here I wrote capital F. So when you are calculating total magnetic Lorentz force, you are supposed to multiply this force by n, which is number of electrons, area into length. This extra thing should come while solving numerical problems. Next is, we are talking about the same thing, that any current carrying wire will act like a magnet. The direction of magnetic field on the current carrying wire is given by Fleming's right hand thumb rule. But the force experienced by a current carrying wire when we keep it in magnetic field is given as Fleming's left hand rule. So when we apply Fleming's left hand rule on these two wires, notice these two wires are carrying current in the same direction. So when they carry current in the same direction, they get attracted towards each other, and the force applied on each other is mu naught I1 I2 L upon 2 pi A, where A is the distance between the two wires. Maybe that is one reason that whenever we are having electric trains, then two electric trains don't run on parallel track in the same direction, because if the current was in opposite direction, they would have repelled each other. Now they are attracting each other. Okay, this is extremely important. Now I am having a current carrying loop. The application of current carrying loop getting rotated in the magnetic field is our electric motor. So whenever I pass electricity through a motor, then the rotor starts to rotate. And whenever we are experiencing a rotatory force, it is not called force, instead we call it torque. So this is one loop which carries current, and I am keeping it inside the magnetic field. So we are seeing the forces experienced in each arm due to the magnetic field. Magnetic field direction is from left to right, as you can see with the arrow. Current in this arm is downwards. So using Fleming's left hand rule, the force will be inwards. In this case, magnetic field this side, current going inwards, so force will be downwards. But if you notice now, the force on each and every arm of this loop, the value of the force will be BIL only, that we already have established, that the force experienced by current carrying element in the magnetic field will be BIL, right? But now I have to calculate the vector sum of all these four forces which act on this loop. But when I notice this, F1 and F2, they are equal in magnitude, but they are exactly opposite to each other. Since they are exactly opposite to each other, so the net force on this arm and this arm will be equal to 0. But this force and this force, these are F3 and F4. Actually, they are acting at some angle. So, I have imaginary connected them in three-dimensional space. It will look something like this when I project F3 and F4 in the three-dimensional space. So force due to each arm, I have already told you, we have calculated, that is BIL. We already know the formula. But when we try to figure out the angle at which these two forces are acting onto each other, I get the final expression for torque as BIL, because torque is equal to R cross F. R is the perpendicular distance between the two forces. So when I calculate this value, the length of this arm, PS, right? So it will come as BIA sine theta. So I can say torque on a current carrying loop inside the magnetic field can be written as N, which is number of loops, B, extent of magnetic field, current and area, and theta is the angle at which these two forces are acting. So I hope you have gotten the overview about the magnetic field. Thank you so much. If you like our channel, please like, subscribe and share our videos. Thank you.